Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Laura Lee from Uproots Wellness. I'm getting ready for my postpartum period where I'm taking a 40-day kind of spiritual retreat from doing anything that I don't feel like doing, which includes cooking. So I'm doing a bunch of food prep of really, really healthy, nourishing, delicious food that keeps really well in the freezer. So this is a great way for you to, plan your week or your month, or a special period like a postpartum where you don't want to have to cook. You can just grab super nutritious and delicious food out of your freezer and warm it up. So today we're going to be making one of my favorite dishes to eat, and that is my delectable cabbage rolls. Today I'll be showing you a recipe that includes ground beef, but you can also make this entirely vegetarian or vegan, and I'll be explaining how to do that precisely throughout the video as well. So you're not locked in. Whatever you decide to eat for yourself, make this recipe. It's delicious every way. And the thing that really sets these cabbage rolls apart is that they don't have really any carbs in them. They have a little bit, which I'm going to explain. I put some complex, really high protein carbs in them to satisfy that normal rice that is in a traditional cabbage roll, to satisfy that craving for that carbohydrate. But they're also follow one of the only golden rules to nutrition. Pretty much there are very, very few golden rules, and one of the only ones is to just fill up half your plate or fill up half your diet with fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to show you how to make the most delectable cabbage rolls that are just so comforting and so delicious, the kind of thing that you're just gonna, they are so good. But they're also going to be half vegetable, high protein, and the only carbohydrates in them are going to be complex and really high quality. So without further ado, let's get going. So the first step, I'm going to decore my heads of cabbage and get them into a pot of boiling water so that I can pull the leaves apart. Right now I've got 3 mid-sized zucchinis, about 4 onions, and 6 cloves of garlic. I am going to attempt to use my Vitamix as a food processor for the first time ever. And hopefully that goes over okay. I'm gonna start with just a little bit to see if it even works. And if not, we'll pull out the food processor. But let's see. No, that's exactly what I thought. They said that you can use this as a food processor. I don't think you can. It's okay, we'll get the old school food processor out, no problem. So I'm choosing to use zucchini here. That is just because this has a really creamy, velvety kind of texture once it's cooked, which kind of mimics that rice sort of texture as well. And it just happens to be what's in my fridge. You can use any veggies you want. This is a very versatile recipe. So I'm not even gonna worry about scraping this too clean, and I'll show you why in just a second, because there's gonna be another step where we actually incorporate a ton of vegetables and therefore a ton of flavor into this dish beyond the main mix. So we're just gonna process this up. Okay, so as you can see, I've processed this up till it's just kind of almost, rice size. You don't want to puree it completely, but get it right down. And if you've got a couple chunks, that's okay. We're going to have a second step, so you can just reserve those, and we'll just throw it back into the food processor with half of our onions and half of our garlic. Okay, So again, you know, kind of rice size mince on the onion and garlic. And you can hear in the background my cabbage is on its way, which reminds me there's one more ingredient that's going to go into this mix, which we're gonna have to wait for the cabbage to be done in order to incorporate. So I am just going to reserve this and get started on our second step. So for our next step, this is a really great way to get rid of some leftover veggies. These are some carrot or some celery sticks that I had in the fridge that I didn't eat, that were in some water that were waiting for me to snack on that I didn't have. So I'm gonna throw those in there, and the rest of the onion, the rest of the garlic, and I'm gonna open up a can of some heirloom tomatoes because this is going to be our tomato sauce. This is by far the easiest way to make tomato sauce I have ever found. And these heirloom tomatoes taste phenomenal. So I'm gonna season this up very plainly, just some nice sea salt and a little bit of chili flakes. And really, with all these vegetables included in this sauce, it's going to taste amazing. This is such a good hack too if you have kids or anybody at your dinner table who don't like vegetables. Making sauces like this, making meals like this, they will absolutely adore the flavor, and they're getting like literally half their plate full of it. Whoa, this is not supposed to be doing that. Wow, my pressure cooker was not supposed to be making that noise. Okay, so blend this up. This is when you want the blender. You can also do it in a food processor if that's all you've got. And this you do want to be smooth. For the moment, this is all we're going to do with this. I will be showing in another video when I make my classic delicious meaty lasagna with a cauliflower bechamel, how to make a more veggie hearty tomato sauce, like a bolognese style tomato sauce. But for this one, it's better just a little bit plain because it's going with a vegetable heavy dish. So this is all we're gonna do at this point, but check out that video if you're wondering how to make like a really delicious like pasta tomato sauce with this style. So while we're waiting for that green cabbage to be done, I have made some purple cabbage earlier. And what I'm waiting for on the green cabbage is actually little bits. If you've ever made cabbage rolls, you know that there's like a bunch of little bits of cabbage that you end up with that you don't really know what to do with. So in this recipe, all of these little bits that aren't like nice leaves to roll with get used up. So I'm gonna throw these in the food processor, as you can guess, and start to make the filling. So you can see here how much veg I have all chopped up and processed. And what I'm going to do is add about the same amount of ground beef. Or if you are making a vegetarian version or a vegan version, you can look at my recipe video for the meaty, chewy veggie burgers, and you're going to use that mixture of the lentils and the textured vegetable protein instead of the ground beef here. And I've actually lied here. I'm not even using half the meat. I've got about 1.5 pounds of ground beef here, and I have some black beans from my amazing black bean brownies left over, and these are a very high quality carbohydrate. So we're gonna introduce this carbohydrate to satisfy that like carbohydrate craving and the expectation of what should be in a dish when you're kind of swapping things out to make them super healthy. I've found, especially when I've been pregnant, that when I'm craving something, I really want all the constituents of it. So if I'm craving a cabbage roll, like you can't just switch out the rice for, you know, vegetables and have that be as satisfying. Maybe before I was pregnant that might be the case, but since I've been pregnant, if I want something with carbs in it or I want something with fat in it, it's got to have those constituents. So I'm going to add these instead of rice. so that there's a satisfying carb in it, but it's like super, super high quality and just a lot more protein than rice, and there's a lot more nutrients in black beans than in rice. I mean, brown rice is great for you. Do what you want to do, but for this recipe, because I've got them here, and because a lot of people have kind of demonized carbs and are avoiding them, showing you how to do this in a way that will make you feel really good and will taste absolutely amazing. So again, very basic seasonings here. I mean, you can go off the hook with seasonings if you want, you know, fresh herbs, which we will finish off with in the end in our sauce. You could do anything you want. I'm just gonna use some high quality sea salt because, again, all of the flavor from food comes from the plants involved, and having this many vegetables in this dish is just going to make it taste so scrumdiddlyumptious that you really don't need to go crazy with seasonings. Okay, so here comes the fun grandma part. We're going to smash this all together. And you can just see how much veggie is in here, but that the meat is just totally incorporating with all of those veggies, and it's what's going to make everything stick really nicely together. And again, most of us in the West, we eat too much meat anyways. This is all the protein you're ever gonna need in a sitting, with a lot more nutrients than you would be getting in a traditional cabbage roll. Now, how awesome does that look? I mean, I know raw meat is kind of gross and everything, but like, how awesome does that look for like the innards of a cabbage roll? Like, that is just so much more inviting than rice and ground beef. Okay, so my cabbage is done, and I'm gonna get into the pressure cooker right this instant. So we had a little mishap when the camera was off. I spilled some of the pressure cooker water onto my hand when I was draining the cabbage off. Pregnancy, 9th month, 3rd trimester. She's a little bit clumsy. But anyways, I'm just gonna have my hand in this ice water bath, which is the best thing to do for a burn, is to get in cold water right away and to soak it in ice water to prevent the burn from going further. But we got our green cabbage all peeled up here, and here are the little bits that are at the end. And normally I would have put this in the mix, in the main kind of mix, but because we have so many veggies in there already, and we didn't put too many veggies in the tomato sauce, I'm just gonna pop this in here and whiz it right up. Okay, then we might get Douglas to come and help roll these because I gotta keep it cold. But basically, I'm gonna use a mixture of green cabbage leaves and purple or red cabbage leaves to make a bunch of cabbage rolls. I'm gonna show Douglas how to do this, which is great. You can practice your finesse, baby.
Okay.
So, we're gonna get a decent kind of amount of our inner mix and just kind of shape it into a little bit of like an oval, and then place it into a leaf. And the really beautiful thing about doing this with raw food, whether you're using the veggie burger recipe and you're making these vegan, or you're using actual beef, is that as this cooks, both recipes, they firm up, which means your cabbage rolls will have keep their really nice shape. So it's all easy to do when you have big nice leaves, but I'm going to show Douglas just how to use the smaller leaves and broken leaves. If you're using smaller leaves, you can just kind of layer them together. And again, make a little oval with your filler here. Again, the beauty thing is that once these are cooked, it doesn't really matter. You're not relying on the cabbage to keep the roll together. It will actually solidify on its own. And I actually really like to do oscillating when I've got red and green. I like to kind of do mixing back and forth between the two. And if you're worried about the fat content of the beef being inside your dish, I'm going to show you how to get rid of that later. And
I'll need 2 for that one.
yeah, probably. Little broken bits like this are a really good way to top up smaller leaves. And we're just gonna go checkerboard back and forth.
So want to do like the next one?
Yeah, my hand is feeling okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to maybe
I want to try a couple and see how you're doing.
Do you want to try the green? The green is a little bit easier to roll.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, got the bush in my hand. Okay.
I'm gonna have some sparkling water.
I think you went like this.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's good.
And then I roll it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it so. It's kind of like doing tacos. Okay, this one's busted. That's maybe not.
So, okay, so I would say that's a bit too much meat.
Okay.
Just take a bit off the ends.
Let's try that again.
And then, again, like even if you just like fold it in a little bit, fold the cabbage in a little bit, so that it's just covering. Again, the beauty of this recipe, both the vegetarian with my veggie burger mix and the meat one, is that you're not gonna have to, like the cabbage isn't gonna have to be perfectly rolled. It's not gonna have to stay together. The actual filling, as long as you can get it into the dish in like an okay way, that's totally fine. Get it in there, and what you can do is you can just push it against a side.
Oh, awesome, like
Yeah,
this.
and then just, yeah.
Nailed it.
So there you go. So as soon as this cooks, it's gonna come out completely like all solidified in its own little perfect form, because the filling is going to solidify and actually keep the cabbage roll part together. So you kind of messed up my checkerboard thing. But that's okay.
I needed the edge.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, but thank you. Is your hand doing okay?
Yeah, I'm just baby myself with some of this, and I think I'm okay.
Okay. Let's wash my hands.
Okay, so this is our first dish. I am going to obviously make a few more like this, but we're gonna pop this in the oven because the oven's ready to go, and so is our sauce, and it is literally as easy as this. Now we're gonna cover this up, bake it at 360, and I am going to show you how I get actually more fat off of this beef than I would if I would have fried it first. That's my experience anyways. It seems like I get even more fat off this way than if I would have cooked it first. Plus the upside is that the fat in meat has all of the flavor, so that is going to actually pass through all of the veg, saturating all of our meal here, and I'm going to be able to take a bunch off so that we're not eating too much saturated fat. But I mean, hey, look how much veggie is in here anyways. This is, you know, an incredible way to eat animal protein. So here they are, the finished product. What I've done is I've taken a couple out of here, and what's going to happen is I'm going to put this in the fridge tonight, and all of the fat is actually going to drain down into this little pooling area, and it's actually going to harden, so you can just pick it right off. I'm just going to top this with my favorite sour cream substitute. I use a thick Greek yogurt instead of sour cream. It tastes just as amazing. And I'm gonna cut into this so you can see just what's in store here. Look at that. It's beautiful. It sticks together. You can actually see some of the big chunks of veggies in there, but it's mostly just pure, meaty, delicious goodness that's gonna melt in your mouth, but also stay firmly together. Okay, I think I need a taste tester.
I love it. That's delicious. Well done.
Isn't it great?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And these guys freeze so well. You can, you know, stick them into individual wrappings, or you can freeze the entire trays and heat them up at will. Thanks for tuning in, guys.